Hello friends, this is Durga again from IT Varsity. We are in the middle of Scala and Spark workshop. As you guys know, this is the backup for the live training going on. So let me start the WebEx session and we will take it from there.
You need a website. Why not do it yourself?
Okay, hello friends, let me mute everyone on entry and also disable entry and exit tone. And I'm making myself as presenter and sharing the screen. So we are in the middle of Scala and Spark workshop. So far we have seen how to use different APIs like filter, map, and several other things. We concluded the last session with calculating daily revenue for each day. And we have seen how to implement reduce by key, group by key, aggregate by key, etc. But aggregate by key, whenever we have to implement aggregate by key, it is a little bit complex compared to reduce by key or group by key. So first let us go with aggregate by key, and then I will start with group by key as well. And also, if you want to do exercises, right? I will show you where the exercises are available. So go to discuss.itvarsity.com. Okay. And here, if you choose big data and go to workshop exercises, there are several Spark-based, Scala and Spark-based exercises. This develop Scala-based application, it is purely Scala, JDBC, and typeset config. Developing word count program, deploy and run word count application. You guys have already done that. Then what I have shown how to develop Spark application using Scala to get daily revenue per day, just to get daily revenue. In this case, it's an extension to that. And this exercise says that you should compute revenue per day per department. So you need to really understand the data model, how to get the department name, and then how to come up with the keys. And the final output will be order date and department name and the revenue generated within the department for that day. Okay. So if there are on average six departments traded on each day, the total number of records will be, the data set is 364 days. There is data for 364 days. So it will be like 364 into 6, which will be around 2000 records it will return once you develop this code. Okay, so if you want, you can take this exercise. There are a few other exercises also. As of now, we have covered only up to this point, the syllabus up to this point. So now I will be explaining about aggregate by key. For that, let us define the problem statement. So far what we are seeing, we are only getting total number of, revenue for each day. So instead of just revenue for each day, if you want to also get how many orders for each day, or let's say how many order items for each day. Yes. The problem statement says date has to be the key, and then instead of just getting revenue for each day, you also want to get number of items for each day. Okay, so we can either use reduce by key or aggregate by key. We will see both how, and in that process, you will understand how to leverage aggregate by key wherever it is required, and you need to understand few important aspects of it. Okay, so let me go to this daily revenue. Okay, either you can use IntelliJ, or if you want to use SBT console for this project, you can use that also. So I will be using IntelliJ, and I will make the necessary changes. So what I will do, I will just copy this code, and I will create a new Scala class of type object. and the name I will give it is daily revenue and order items. I just want to get count of order items for each day. Click on OK and paste this code and rename this. Okay, let me start recording. I forgot to start recording. So we are discussing about aggregateByKey, and then we will see groupByKey as well. So just to recap, we just copied the code from daily revenue and pasted it here and renamed the program to object name to daily revenue and order items. Even the program name also we have changed it to daily revenue and order items. Okay, so most of the stuff remains same, like input path has to be the base directory. We want to pass dev or prod to run in the mode we want. Here I just hard coded to local, so we'll just test with local. If you want to integrate with type size config and externalize the parameters, you can do. Anyway, we will primarily focus on aggregateByKey now. So if you recollect, up to this point, we actually filtered for complete and closed orders, and we joined that with order items. And then this join, after joining, we only, so underscore dot underscore 2 will get our order date and the order item subtotal for each item. And then reduceByKey will actually add our aggregate revenue for each day. Okay, are you guys following? If you want me to run these things once again, I will do that. Okay, but if you are comfortable with it, we will proceed. Even if one guy wants me to run everything again, I will run. Okay, just make sure that you understand, because aggregateByKey is a little bit complicated and you should understand. Okay, so let's proceed. Means if I think everyone is okay. If you lost somewhere, I can re-explain. Okay, so now I don't want to use reduceByKey here. I want to use aggregateByKey. So after this, what will happen? This will return RDD, and it will have elements of type string, which is order date, and int.
Sorry, not
Yeah, integer.
double.
Yeah, correct. You are right. So double is nothing but revenue. So that is the output of up to that point. Now we want to compute not only the revenue for each day, but also number of order items for each day. So here I will create a new variable called order join map aggregateByKey, just to say that we are using aggregateByKey. Okay, and here we will take this order join map, and then we have to say aggregateByKey, and aggregateByKey takes two brackets. First one is the initialization. Second one, we will actually give the functionality of the combiner as well as reducer logic. For both combiner or reducer as well as reducer, in Spark terms it is called as sequence of and combiner of. We have to provide functionality for both. So how to initialize this? So first let us understand what is the expected output. So the expected output of this is to have the RDD. The key is still string, which is date, and then value is another tuple. It's not a float. We want a double. We want two values. One is double, which is nothing but revenue, and second one is number of orders. That is the expected output. So there are typically, if your output format, so what is the input RDD? Element in input RDD is of type string and double, and element in output RDD is of type this one. Whenever there is a difference in the value type between the input and output. That means typically your combiner logic and reducer logic will be different. It will be different all the time. Hence, we have to use aggregate by key only. You cannot use reduce by key whenever the output is different. Automatically, the functionality will differ a little bit. Okay. So now, how to initialize this? The initialization should match the output. Why? So if you think about it, right, how will we aggregate typically? There is a list. Let's say there is a list like this, val L equal to list of 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So how will you initialize? And if you want to compute, how will you write? First, you will actually create total equal to 0. What is the data type of it? Integer. Whatever is your output, based on that, you will typically initialize your aggregator. If you want to display something else on top of this, automatically you create a different data structure for your total, and you will be manipulating total in such a way that whatever your expected output is. So here the data type of the aggregator will be same as whatever your expected output is, right? So here also we have to follow the same principle. In this case, what is our expected output value, and we have to focus only on the value. Don't worry about key. When we say by key, key is already hidden from us. We are only manipulating the values for each key. If you have 10 keys, this function will be invoked 10 times. If you have 100 keys, this function will be invoked 100 times. Okay, so the key is hidden from you. Don't need to worry about it. So how should we initialize this? What is the data type of the output value? It's a tuple. Okay, and here I want to put the first element. I want to populate the first element with revenue and second element with number of order items. So the first element, as it is double, as it is of type double, I have to say 0.0 here and then comma 0. That is the 0 value which you need to provide. And now comes the first function, which is sequence of in Spark terms or combiner logic in traditional MapReduce terms. So here, as in reduce by key, it also take a tuple, and we can give the names for the elements within the tuple. Let us give it as intermediate ag and intermediate val. Okay, so and now you need to understand what is the data type of this and what is the data type of this. So the data type of int val, what is value? Value is this one. Okay, and this is the aggregator. What is the aggregator? Aggregator is of type this one. Okay, so here even though we explicitly did not specify, the syntag is nothing but of type tuple with elements double and integer. If you want to just understand what is going on to begin with, you can define like this. You can define the parameter types also. You can say double comma int, and then this is just double. Okay, just until you understand aggregate by key, it's better to define data types. But from Scala perspective, it's not a good practice to unnecessarily add anything. Okay, so now here, what I want to do, I want to add this int val to the first element in the aggregator. Okay, and second element, to get the count, what I have to do, I just have to add 1. Right? So how to do that? Any guesses here? So the output is also of type tuple. So here I have to say tuple and comma to complete that function. And now in this, to the first element of the aggregator, I want to add the value. To the second element of the aggregator, I want to add 1. So how to do this? Any guesses here? So tell me now, what should I type? Int ag, it's aggregator. Int ag dot underscore first, yes, plus int val, yes, and then int ag underscore 2 plus 1. Okay. So let's say you have 100 values for the key, and let's say this combiner executed twice. First one 60 values, it processes 60 values, and second one it processes 40 values. So there will be 2 intermediate values which will be passed on to the reducer side or combiner op side in Spark terms, and we have to add those intermediate values. Now, what is the data type of final aggregator and a final value? Now, both are actually tuples. Okay. So here, let's say total ag, dot val. In this case, both are tuples. You already know that tot val is of type tuple because this is the value, right? This is the intermediate value. And then this is the aggregator. Aggregator is always tuple because that is the output, right? That is the output which we want to preserve. So this is anyway tuple. We just have to make sure what is the data type of this. And the data type of this is nothing but output of the combiner of, or sequence of or combiner logic in traditional MapReduce terms. Is it clear? Okay. So now what I have to do, if you want, you can actually specify again data type for both these. The data type is of type tuple. So here what I should do, again the output is of type tuple, so I'm putting in circular brackets. So now tell me what should I do now? What should I actually, how should I actually add? So both are of type, not exactly same way. Let me explain this. So this is of type double and int. This is also of type double and int. So now what I have to do, I have to add first element of both variables and second element of both variables and create a tuple. So how can I add first element of both variables? What? Add underscore 1 plus dot val. Dot ag and dot val. Total value. Dot underscore 1. And then dot ag dot underscore 2 plus dot val dot underscore 2. So if you are not understanding this, what you are supposed to do, main thing you need to understand is how to manipulate tuples. If you understand how to manipulate tuples, you are good to go. You will be able to understand these things clearly. If you are struggling to understand the concept of tuple, then you will struggle while coding. Okay. Okay. So this dot val is nothing but, let me explain. So let's say there are 100 values which we are trying to process. Okay. And the combiner is executed twice. And let's say for out of those 100 values, the output is 100K, 100,000, and 100 values. So that let's say that is the final output. Okay, so let me. That is final output. After processing 100 records, you are getting the revenue as 100,000 and value as 100, because we have total number of items for that key as 100. So let's say this code is generating two intermediate values. Okay, and let's say first one actually processes 60 and computed an intermediate value, and then another intermediate value for next 40. Okay, so what will be the output? There will be one tuple which is 60,000 and 60 approximately, and then another tuple with 40,000 and 40. So that will be the output of this function. Okay, by processing subset of data and computing intermediate results, it will give output similar to that. Okay, now we have to add those two things. Okay, so this tot val is nothing but these values, and we have to add these things to get the final result. Okay, so total aggregator will be initialized to 0, and then we which is this one. Okay, and then we are adding this value to this in the first iteration, because we have only two intermediate elements to get the final number of final total. As we have only two intermediate elements, first time it will add these intermediate results to this one, and then it will be set to 60,000, 60. As part of the second iteration, this 40,000, 40 will be added to this 60,000, 60, and you will get the final result. Okay, it is exactly same. Why it is? Let me see. It should not go like this. Okay. Okay. So yeah, mini reduce. You should not use term mini reducer. Either you have to use combiner and reducer in regular or map reduce terms, or in the Spark terms you have to use sequence of and combiner of. Combine of. Okay, don't use the term mini reducer. Don't create new terms. Okay, so now let me explain how it actually works. So you have a collection, and what is the collection type? It is like this: val l equal to list of let's say 100. Sorry, let's say like this: 100, and then 200, 250, 25, 325, 10, 90, 95, etc. So let's say you have list of these values, which are nothing but set of collection of doubles. I want to add all these values and then get the count as the final output. So if I want to do in traditional way, what I will do, I will say val total equal to 0.0, which is a type tuple, and then what I will say for I, this is how you actually read, you write for loops in Scala. So it will look like this. Okay, now total is of type tuple, right? So total equal to total dot underscore 1 plus I, and then total dot underscore 2 plus 1. So why it is complaining? Okay, here I have to say that. Okay, this is what we have done. Only difference is by introducing combiner, as we are doing in the distributed fashion, we are also computing intermediate values in between. Okay, it is like this. So let's say every 50 records, you want to complete one iteration and assign it to a new list to generate the intermediate values, and then if you want to add, what will you do? You will create another for loop inside, and have a global variable increment mod of 50. If it reaches 0, then create a new collection. Means add the subtotal up to that point into the collection. By the time the one for loop complete, we will have a smaller collection with few intermediate values, and finally we'll try to add that. So similar logic we are implementing like this. Okay, that is the reason why the initializer has to be whatever is the output. Even in this case, if our output, if my final output has to be the number of elements and the sum of the revenue, even while writing the for loop, you have to implement in the similar fashion. You have to initialize your aggregator with whatever output you want to store, and then add elements to that. Similarly, is the case with our aggregate by key. This is the very important thing which you need to understand. The initializer type has to be whatever the output is. If it is double, you have to initialize to double. If it is tuple, you have to initialize to tuple. Okay, and once you do that, and once you understand what is the data type of the aggregator type is always same as whatever value you have initialized to. And then depending upon the values you take, you need to take the necessary action. Here we are only taking single valued revenue. Hence we have to add revenue to the to its placeholder in the tuple, which is first in this case. To the second one, we are just adding once. Okay, so very important to understand, because when it comes to developing aggregate by key, lot of people get confused. Make sure you don't. Okay, everything is clear about aggregate by key. Okay, so did everyone finish the program? Last session. So yeah, I will highly recommend to go with, no need to worry too much about aggregate by key. If you want, you can explore. As long as you understand what it is fine. There is another way of dealing with this. You don't need to actually use aggregate by key only. What the other way is, as part of the map function itself. Okay, instead of getting the output of tuple of date and revenue, we can also get a nested tuple with nested tuple, where date will be the key and the value will be the revenue and also number one. Okay, and then as you are getting the tuple itself as output to the map function, you can use reduce by key. And as part of the reduce by key, you just have to add first element of both aggregator and value, and second element of both aggregator and value. So this is how it will look like. So you can also write the same logic like this. And function performance wise, I think both perform similarly. There won't be much of a performance difference. I will just comment it out. Okay, it will instead of just saying underscore dot underscore 2, what we have to do is rec implies is of type tuple, and the key will be date, which is rec dot underscore 1, and the value is tuple, which is rec dot underscore 2, which is nothing but revenue, and then 1. Okay, and then what you can do, you can say reduce by key, Now aggregate comma value. Both aggregate and value are of type tuples. Okay. Always in reduced by key, both aggregator and value types will be same. It won't be different. So as they are same, what we just have to do, ag dot underscore 1 plus value dot underscore 1 and then ag dot underscore 2 plus value dot underscore 2. You can write like this. Okay, so same thing you can implement with reduce by key also in some of the cases. In some of the extreme cases, you might have to use only aggregate by key, and in that you primarily need to understand how to initialize, how to implement the combiner logic, and how to implement the reducer logic. Okay. So that being said, I will give a couple of minutes, think through it, and if you have any questions, let me know. Then we will start with group by key. Yeah, you can, but it's unnecessary. No, nothing. Both perform similar fashion. You can try. You can give a try. Actually, on New York Stock Exchange data, you can use other data sets also and come up with your own problem statement, and you can start implement those things. It has 9.3 million records. If you want to validate the difference between aggregate by key and reduce by key, you can write simple programs on top of it with aggregate by key and reduce by key, and you can see. I don't think there will be any significant difference. Both use combiner. So unless it is required, there is no point in using aggregate by key. It's unnecessarily complicating the things. So think about it and ask me the question. I need to make a call. So let us start with groupByKey. GroupByKey probably is the most important one, not from the certification perspective. It need not be from certification perspective, but when it comes to work perspective, apart from aggregations, whatever you have to do, you have to typically do it by groupByKey. Okay, so there is a so there are several scenarios where groupByKey will come handy. Even in case of aggregations, if we cannot just use reduceByKey or aggregateByKey for any reason, we have to use groupByKey. Okay, for that I will just show you an example. So I just created this exercise yesterday. Okay, it's about the state elections which is going on today. Just to make it interesting, I added to this. So we all know that it was a four-way contest in 2014 general elections in UP between BJP, BSP, Congress, and SP. And BJP won 71 seats out of 78 or something. Almost 90% seats BJP won. And now if you see, it's a three-way contest. Congress and SP are together, and BSP and BJP are contesting against them. And now, if just by numbers, I got the data set where each candidate got how many votes in each constituency. So I just want to simulate the current scenario and apply it on 2014 and see what difference it makes. It would have made if it was a three-way contest at that time, purely on numbers. Here I'm not trying to really analyze anything, just to make it interesting to see how groupByKey will be used. I am giving this example, and we will see some other example also later when we talk about sorting the data and all those things. But for now, we will try to implement this one. So if you scroll down, if you scroll down, there is a GitHub link which will take you to a TSV file. Okay, and here, if you see, it gives the state, constituency, candidate name, gender, age, category, party name, party symbol, general votes posted, general votes voted, and votes voted through postal ballot, and then total number of votes and few other things. So we are purely interested on total votes polled for each candidate. And if you see, for each constituency, there are multiple records. So the unique key is state, constituency, and the candidate name and party, because candidate names can be same sometimes. Especially if you follow the elections, there was a candidate, I think Ajit Jogi, against Ajit, Ajit Jogi or someone in one of the constituencies. There are 14 Ajit Jogis contesting against, or no, 14 candidates having the same name as Ajit Jogi's opponent. The main reason is the votes are split across all the folks if people are not very well educated. So things can happen. The candidate name is also can also be same. So here the unique key is state, constituency, candidate name, and party name or party symbol, whatever it is. Okay. So now to get the winner, we just have to compare who got the highest total of votes of all this. So in this case, we have to go through all these records for Andhra Pradesh and Hyderabad and see who is the actual winner, who came second, who came third, etc. So in 2014 elections, Congress and SP contested separately against BJP and BSP. Now they are together. So we have to club Congress and SP votes and get the new total, and we have to create a new keyword instead of using INC or SP. Probably we might have to create something like alliance or INC plus SP, whatever name you want to give, you can give. And then we have to determine who, how many ports are got by whom. Okay. So now, first what you have to do, you just copy this one. Just this is only okay. Here, go to raw first, so that you can actually copy the data properly. Okay, and now you will get the raw data. You can copy this by saying Command A or Control A, Command C to paste, and go to any location where you want to have the data. So research data collections, and the file name is ls 2014 CSV. I'm creating new one, CSV, and paste it. So there are 8,000 odd records, and okay, Vijay actually passed the CSV file. Thank you. Or you can also clone it and do whatever you want. But it's a small file, 8,000 records, so it might take a minute. So now you guys have to tell what needs to be done. Only the things which you might not be aware, I will explain. Okay. First, you need to come up with the proper design, how to deal with this, and then we'll start implementing. Or as a type, you can tell. That will be our design also. Okay, if you are using VA editor, be careful, because you might, if you don't get into insert mode, you might skip few records in the beginning. Okay, and this should be the size of your file, around 888 KB. Okay, so I don't need this one. So this is the one which we will be focusing on. Okay, so you can see the state name, constituency, candidate name, blah blah blah. So first, what should we do? First, we have to read the file, right? So here I am going to the our project directory where we have all the dependencies defined, which is idea projects, and then I think retail. Retail is the one which I'm using. I'm just saying SBT console. If you want, you can also use IntelliJ IDEA to develop, but I will try to use SBT console. Okay, so now we got all the required dependencies. What should we do first? Create context. So I already have the code for that. So let me use that code. I have code for everything. I actually tested it already, but I will not be copy pasting everything. But whatever you know, I will just copy paste. Okay, so copy, first import Spark configuration and Spark context, and then create the context. Here I'm using only one lineup, which will actually create the context by creating Spark configuration object as part of it. Okay, so don't try to write now, because there are some gaps which you need to fill, and we will lose the momentum. Let me develop it, and then you can try. You can try by yourself. Okay. So there is a reason why I'm taking this example. It's a very good example to understand how to use Scala APIs, Spark APIs, and how to integrate these two things. And we will do one more example tomorrow. After covering sorting and ranking, globally we will go to ByKey ranking and sorting. We will see groupByKey there also. Okay. And for certification purpose, it will not be this complicated. It will be much simpler. But this is very useful uh, while implementing or working on the projects. Okay, so here first I want to read the data. So already I have this. Okay, and if you look at the data, right? Where is the data file? Open recent. If you look at the data, there is a header, and we don't want to process header. We just want to discard. So there is a API called, it's a Spark API. There is a API called map partitions. And as part of the map partitions, there are multiple APIs for map partitions. There is one API called map partitions with index, which will give index for each and every line or each and every element in our RDD. Okay. So what is sc.text file? Output of sc.text file, it's nothing but RDD of strings. If you want to create for each and every element and do some processing at a partition level instead of at record level, if you want to do some processing at partition level, there is a API called map partitions with index. So using that, there is a way to discard the header, and this will work only if there is a huge file and if there is only one header. But if there are multiple files and if each file has the header, this approach will not work. You have to think about some other alternative. Okay. So now let's get data. So file contents dot map partitions with index. So first we need to understand the syntax of it, right? So as what's your name? Gopi mentioned, if you hit tab after going to the map, after finishing the API, if you hit tab, you will get to the arguments and all those things. You are the one, right? Asking about meta programming. So he figured it out, Gopi. Okay, so here you see it takes a function as parameter, and the function is nothing but anonymous function, and that is of type tuple. The first one is index, means of type integer, and second one is iterator, which is nothing but collection. Okay, so here what I have to do, I have to create a tuple. I will name it as index, and then I will name it as iter. Okay, so if index, I think not equal to 0, then I will just return iterator. Okay, let me see the syntax. I forgot. Yeah. Okay, so this is how it. If I index equal to 0, iter dot drop. Iter is nothing but the entire iterator, and we are dropping one element from the iterator, from the collection, by using drop. Okay, so this is the one which. So let me explain this. So here, first you need to understand what is Spark API and what is Scala API. Map partitions with index is Spark API. Okay, it works on top of RDD. And then iter is now a Scala type of collection, which is nothing but iterator. Okay, index or IDX. Let me name it as IDX. Index is of type integer. Okay, so if it is first element, I want to drop only one element from the iterator. Else I want to return the entire iterator. All the records will be returned. Okay, this is how you can skip the header. Okay, it's ITR. Okay, now you can actually say file contents dot count. Here I'm just using this. I'm just using to show how map partitions can be used. Okay, but for this you don't even need to do this because you will understand why we don't need to do this. But just to make sure that you understand map partitions with index API, I just used it for its data. One record is gone. Now the count is only 8,355. Now what we have to do next? Now we, if you look into the data, take off 100 or 1000. Let me take 1000 records for each hinterland. So you got all the states and constituencies from all the states. So what should we do first? What our problem statements say? We just want to do the analysis on Uttar Pradesh. We don't need to do. We don't need to consider anything else. So what should we do now? So we have to apply the filter. So val data up equal to data dot filter, and here we can say rec split our delimiter. What is the delimiter? Tab. Okay, and then you can say 0 equal to Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so data up dot count. You can see that it got 1368. Okay, now at each constituency level, we want to get all the parties, party candidate details, the votes. We don't need all the details, but we just need the party, number of votes for that party, so that we can actually determine who is the winner after considering the alliance. So what we have to do for BJP, you have to get whatever votes that are polled. For BSP, we have to get whatever votes that are polled. For any other party than Congress and BSP, SP, we have to get the way as is. But if it is Congress or SP, we have to create a new key and add the two values to get the number of votes polled for both the parties together. Okay. So here we cannot use reduce by key or aggregate by key because the input is a means for each key the input is a collection of, let's say, n number, and output will be n minus 1 because Congress and SP are clubbed together into an alliance, right? So we cannot use aggregate by key directly. Aggregate by key, it will take n values as input and give one value as output, min, max, sum, average, etc. In this case, it's not aggregate aggregate function. You cannot use reduce by key or aggregate by key. Hence, we have to use group by key. Okay. So now let us determine. Let us start using group by key. But before applying group by key, what is the format of our data? If you look at data up dot take off 10 for each println. Okay, it's nothing but string. You can also say data up to get the data type RDD with element string. But to apply group by key, how our data should look like. So now we will go to the Spark programming guide. Spark programming guide, and we are talking about aggregate by key. Sorry, group by key, and group by key when called on a dataset of KV pairs. So if we have to use group by key, we have to pass it in the form of KV pair, and we need to determine what is key and what is value. So what is key in this case? So this is our data. So the key is our constituency. Within each constituency, we need to determine the winner or loser. Okay. So key is our constituency, and in this case, we can use state as well as constituency, or you can directly use constituency also as a key. But our final outcome, what is our final outcome within the state? We want to see how many seats are won by Congress. How many seats are won by would have been won by Alliance. How many seats would have been won by BSP and BJP if it was a three-way contest, right? So there, our final output requires Uttar Pradesh as key, so that within Uttar Pradesh, BJP won so many, BSP won so many, and Alliance won so many. So we need to have state as key along with the constituency. Okay, and what is the value? The value is nothing but we need votes to determine who is the winner, and to calculate how many seats won by respective parties, we have to have the party also. Then only we will be able to get that information about the party. So our key is a tuple of, or it can be string also, but it needs to have, it's a composite key. It needs to have state as well as constituency. Our value also is a composite value which will have party and number of votes. We don't need anything else. We just need these details. So how to fetch those details? Which API should we use? Which API should we use? Map. Yeah. So don't think too much. It's pretty straightforward. I'm asking very simple questions. Okay. So data per constituency. Okay. Or data per constituency and candidate. And party. We can say data per constituency and party. Okay. So we have to say data UP dot map, and you can give rec. Let's write it in multiple lines to keep it simple. So I'm creating val r equal to rec dot split. What is our delimiter? It's tab, right? So R will be an array which will have all the elements. And then I want to create a tuple, and the key is also tuple, and the value is also tuple. So what will be the first element of this tuple? It's state. And what will be the second element of the tuple? Constituency, which is 1. And then we need to get the party. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 will give the party, and then 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 will give the votes votes voted for that party. So 6 and 10 will be the value. So R of 6. So what should we do? R of 10. Is that it, or do we need to do something else on this? What is the data type of that? Int. So we have to say to int. Okay. Otherwise, we will not be able to add later. We have to typecast later. It is better to change the data type as early as possible. Okay. Okay. Now I have to close this curly bracket and then the map function. Now you can see the RDD of type tuple, where it has both key and values are tuple. Key is nothing but state and constituency, and value is nothing but party and number of votes. Now we have to do group by key. So group by key is pretty straightforward. Val data per constituency equal to this one dot group by key. Okay. So now what is the data type? It is nothing but a tuple, and the key is nothing but our state and constituency, and the value is an iterable, which is nothing but a array, and each element in that iterable is nothing but string and integer. So if you actually look into the data per constituency dot take of 100. I think 100 will give everything. So let's use collect because there was only 78 or something. Okay. For each element, you can see this is one record. This is another record. So the key is this one, and the value is nothing but compact buffer. Compact buffer is nothing but a special type of list just to compress the data. So it's nothing but iterable. So we can convert it into a iterable and we can do whatever we want. Now out of this data, so for the example for this constituency, these are the votes polled for each party. So we need to, except for SP and Congress, everything will remain same. With respect to SP and Congress, we have to create a new key. We have to discard SP Congress and create a new key, and we have to add those two. Okay, so that is the functionality which we need to implement. For that, we will develop a new function, and we will invoke that function on this variable data per constituency. Okay, data per constituency is nothing but the output of the group by key. You can also validate saying data per constituency dot count. There are 80 seats, so we got 80. And then there is one more, data per constituency and party dot count. The input is actually 1368 records, but output is only 80 records because 80 constituencies. And each value will have array of elements of each party and the votes. So how to define the function in Scala? How to start this? And let's name it as recalculate with alliance. That is the function name. And then first we need to understand what is the data type of the element which we need to pass. So here I want to pass the collection and return the collection. Okay. So the input type is nothing but iterable. The parameter type is nothing but iterable, whatever is the collection. So to confirm that, what you can do, you can just say data per constituency and hit enter. So this should be your parameter type, because I want to pass the list and get the list with one record less as an alias. Okay, so def recal with alias rec, and this is the type. And what will be the output? Again, it's an iterable. Okay, so colon is the one which will enter the specification, and then we have to give the return type, and then equal, and then curly brackets. Okay, so here this rect is nothing but a list. So there are multiple ways to do it. You can actually create a new list and add elements to that list, except if it is INC and SP, you might have to have a placeholder, and finally you have to add those two things after crossing everything, and then add it finally. That is one way to do, which is crude. It's kind of a crude way. It's not the functional way of doing it. So here we have to use the functional programming. Okay. So for that, what I will do, instead of writing this function, I will create this list. I will create a new list using this data. Okay, so this is nothing but a list, and we will try to see how we can use the APIs from the list, which is nothing but core Scala APIs. Here we are not talking about Spark APS. Spark APS is primarily on RDTs. Now we are not dealing with RDTs. We are actually dealing with list after grouping by key. Compact buffer is nothing but iterable, which is Scala, core Scala type. Okay. So I'm copying this. I copied 2 records. No, it's only 1 record. From here. Okay, thank you. Yeah, it's very misleading. Okay, so I'm creating list val L equal to list of. Okay, I have to put it in double quotes. Okay, let me do it. It's a little bit tough. We need to use. Yeah, we can actually do. We can replace open bracket with open bracket. Yeah. Okay. So, open bracket. But we have to replace this one also. Yeah. Find replace. I think. Okay. We cannot because here we have command. There is other way to do it, but we need to use regular expression. No, but we have other things also, right? That's fine. Yeah, I will just do it. I know how to do it with regular expression, but it takes some time now to research. If it is Python, it will actually present as string itself. So we can actually directly copy paste. Scala, we are not very lucky. Okay, now we can create this as list. Val L equal to. Okay, now we created the list. Okay, so now what we have to do, so this is the, so there are a number of elements in the list. Okay, so we need to apply some function. We have to determine what it is, and then yeah, and then we have to deal it in a functional way rather than writing in a non-functional way. We have to deal this with functional way. So here, what we can do is, let me recollect what I have done. Okay, so first what we have to do, if it is Congress or FP, we have to change the key for them. That is the first thing we have to do. For the rest of the stuff, we just have to pass through. So for that, we can apply the map function. And this map function is list map function, not Spark map function. Okay. So here, we can say rec, and or we can just say R if you just to limit the name. And then if R dot, each element is of type tuple. So R dot underscore 1 equal to yeah, SP, and then what's that?
or you do choose another file?
No, we have to modify that. So let me see. Yeah, I got it. R dot underscore 1 equal to inc. Okay. Then we want to return a, a new tuple, and the first one we can give a name. In this case, I'm giving it as li, and second one it's the whatever number of votes we got. Okay. Else we just have to return R. Yeah, I got it. Else R. Okay, now what you see for the SP and Congress, we got li. For rest, we got the records as is. Now we need to figure out which function to use to add these two values and get the new list. So if you do L dot and hit tab, there are so many functions. And one of the function, so you don't see ByKey functions on lists. ByKey are primarily on RDDs or paid RDDs. Okay. So there is no concept of paid RDD or paid collections or paid list, etc. in Scala. So there is a group by function. Okay. And you can use group by function, but when it comes to group by here, you will understand how the data will be represented. If I just say group by and hit enter, okay, sorry. Here I have to create a new variable lg equal to, so this is our so if you say lg dot group by, not enough arguments. Okay, we have to give the logic. So let me figure it out. Yeah. So when it comes to group by, because there is no group by key, we have to tell using which element we want to group by. So in this case, we want to group by the first element, right? So that's why we have to say group by R implies R dot underscore 1. And now it is grouped properly. And the output is of type map function. And you can see that after grouping by, each element have both key and value now. Okay. So what we have to do after grouping by like this, there is another function. We can actually use map now. So for example, let's see li. Where is li? Here. Okay. So this is a map, hash map, and hash map is nothing but key and value, right? So key is li and value is a list of both the records, Congress votes and SP votes. Okay, so we have to means whether you have one or more, you have to identify how to add. So in this case, we have to add these two things, the elements in the list. Okay, so group by and then dot map, and as part of the map function, we just have to say R implies. So R dot underscore 1 will give, sorry, R dot underscore 1 will give the key. Okay, and R dot underscore 2 will give this one, and we have to add this one. So R dot 2 dot underscore 2 has to be added. Okay, and we can use sum for that. So here we have to say R dot underscore 1 comma R dot underscore 2 dot map, because R dot underscore 2 is nothing but map. Okay, and we have to sorry, r dot underscore 2 is nothing but list. And on that list, we want to extract all the elements and then apply the sum function. Okay. So r dot 2, r dot underscore 2 dot map underscore dot underscore 2, which will give us the number of votes. If I just r dot underscore 2, let me show you. Here I am applying the map function and running this. So if I just say r dot underscore 1 comma r dot underscore 2, it is giving the same whatever we have seen earlier. So here I want to apply the map function and I want to get to the second element. So r dot underscore 2 is nothing but list, right? This one. We are applying the map function on top of list. It could be one element or two elements. And then we are so it will return a list of elements, and then I am doing sum on it. Because this map of underscore dot underscore 2 gives the integer values, the sum will add those integer values and get the number of votes. Okay. So here I am using sum. Okay, I think okay, I have to close one more. Now you see, for each and every party, we just got the number of votes. Okay, is it clear? So r dot underscore 1 is nothing but this one, the party, and the r dot underscore 2 is nothing but list, and we are applying map function on it and grabbing only the number of votes, which will return the list again. The map output will be list, and then we are applying some function on it. Okay, and we will get the votes of each party. So this we have to put it in a function. Okay, so I am copy pasting the logic which I have created here. Okay, now we have the function. We have to use this function after groupByKey. So what is our variable name? It is created earlier. It is data per constituency. Okay, so data per constituency is nothing but the output of the groupByKey. Hence here what we have to do, we have to invoke the map function, because for each input record, what is our input record? It's nothing but your constituency name, state and constituency name, and the list. And what is the output? Again the same thing. The value is also of type list, only with one less element, with number of votes added for Congress and some other party together. That's the only difference. So here we have to apply the map function. The only transformation we are doing is we are adding the votes of two parties and creating a new element, replacing those two elements with one element with a line. Okay, so here we have to use map function. If we have to flatten out, if it returns iterable, and if you want to flatten out, we have to use flat map. As we are not actually flattening out here, we are just using the map. Okay, and as part of the map, we have to invoke the function now. Okay, what is the function name? This is the function name. And what is the parameter type? It's only the second element we are trying to pass it to the function. Okay, so what we have to do, paste the function name, and here we have to say rec dot underscore 2, because we are not actually passing the key. You can also pass like this. If you pass like this, then the data type of this will change. It will be tuple with two elements. First element will be the again composite key, state and constituency, and second element will be iterable. In this case, we are only passing the iterable. Hence, we can say rec dot underscore 2. Okay, so these two has to match. It all depends upon how you want to design. Okay, now close this, and let me create val and data keyway. Okay, now you can see it generates the output which is of iterable, and okay, here I want both because I want to add, right? Finally, I want to add the number of winners based on the state, right? So I have to have state and state and constituency also if required as key. So for that, what you have to do, you have to say rec._1, which will give the tuple of state and constituency, and then apply the function, and now you got the constituency and then iterable. Okay, and from this, what we want to do, we just want to sort the data in descending order by votes, by number of votes, and determine the party, the winner of the potential winner after the alliance. Okay, so here let's see. So here, what I'm trying to do is I'm applying the map function again. So data with keyway dot map, and here the input is again the tuple with constituency name, state constituency name, and the list by the number of votes. What we have to do, we just have to sort the votes in descending order so that the first record gives the winner. The first element in the list will be the winner. Okay, so here I am saying rec implies rec._1 will be the state and constituency name, and rec._2 is nothing but the list. Okay, I have to sort. So the sorting again here you need to implement the Scala based functionality. So here first what I am trying to do, I am converting into a list, iterable to list, and then there is a function called sort by. And as part of the sort by, I want to focus on the number of votes received, and I want to negate it so that the number the results will get in the reverse order. So what I can do, k._2, it is of type integer. So we can use negation like this, which will sort the data in descending order. Okay, and then yeah, I have to use one more bracket. Okay, and now what is the output? It is after this map function, the data is actually sorted in descending order by number of votes. Okay, now what we have to do to get the number of winners, sorry, number of seats won by each party, we have to get the state. We can discard the constituency, which is the second element of the composite key, and then we just have to get the first element. Okay, that will give us the winner of that constituency because the data is already in descending, sorted in descending order, right? So what we have to do, again, you can apply map function. As part of the map function, I want to get only rec._1, which is tuple, which have both state as well as constituency. And I just want the state name. So I can say rec._1. And then what is the value? I just want to get the party name of the first record. So it is nothing but list. Okay. So what I have to do, rec of _2 will get the entire list. Okay. Out of which I just want to get the first element, so of 0. And from that I only want to get the party name. I don't want anything else because it is of type tuple. Each element is of type tuple. So this will give the first record, and it is of type tuple. Hence, we have to give _1. Okay, and hit enter. And then what we have to do? We just have to apply the reduced by key to get the number of, or we can actually do count by key also. Can we do count by key? No. We cannot even do reduce by key. So here what we have to do is we have to use composite the both state as well as party as key. Okay. So here what we have to do, we have to create a composite key, nested tuple, and the first element itself is tuple, which is nothing but the state and the party, and the second element is 1, so that we can add those things to determine who is winning. Okay, and then we just have to say count by key. Count by key is an action. Okay, and the key is now state as well as the party. If you don't want the state, you can discard earlier also. It's not required that we need to get the state, because we already filtered for UP. We know that it is for UP. If you don't want to include state as part of your program, you can discard that also. Anyway, now hit enter. And now you can see that LI would have 112 seats. And BJP would have 166 instead of 71. And Apna Dal, it's actually BJP LI, it won 2. So instead of 73, these guys would have 168, and those guys, the Alliance would have 112. DSP did not win any seats in the last election. Okay, so this is how.
There are 3 or 4 independents.
If they are part of Alliance, yeah, you can.
Without alliance, there will be a content. Meaning like independent is separate from others. We categorize independence into others.
Yeah.
So that should do that also.
Yeah.
It will add all the independents, like 3 or 4 independents.
Yeah, if you want, you can add those things. But I don't think they have given as others. Did they given as others? I don't know.
They give IND.
Okay.
And that constant, some constants 3 or 4 independent.
Okay. Already they might have added it. I don't know. In that case, probably you might have to take the symbol. If there are 3 or 4 INDs, a symbol has to be unique. It's a party.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can add the independence.
Yeah. I think with this, it will be added somewhere in the middle. So this is how you can write, and this is a very, very good example to test both your Scala as well as Spark skills. You need to have a deep understanding about the collections and RDDs. That's the major building block of Spark. If you don't understand RDD and collections, then you will not be able to process the data properly. Okay, so now you can use this. So as part of this, I have covered group by key significance. Okay, that's the main thing here. Group by key is a very sophisticated and powerful and generic API to do whatever you want as part of grouping the data. In this case, we group by the constituency, and we try to apply the transformation in such a way that after grouping by the constituency, if the alliance would have formed, then what would be the votes achieved by alliance by adding the respective votes of those parties, and that's the main intention of group by key. Okay, so I will give few minutes here. I will paste the code. Okay, and you can go through the code, and if you have any questions, you can ask. And if you see, the code is not very big. Okay, if you know the APIs thoroughly, the code is not very big. And one more thing which I will answer your question, Himanshu. One more thing which I try to showcase is about how to evaluate the existing APIs and use appropriate APIs understand how the data will be structured by applying the APIs, and then try to build our logic. So one of the complex part which took a lot of time for me is to understand this group by and map function, and this logic also took quite some time to get the sum based on arrays. Because when we say group by, it is actually creating a map, and also after creating the map, it is also including both key and value. It is not just using values. So to make sure you understand these things, try to use this approach. Create a collection like this. Create a collection like this, and then you will be able to figure out how to use group by map function. You can preview what's going on, and then you can come up with the logic. This is very, very important step. Okay, so let me take the question of Himanshu. So here, it's quite simple. The return type is determined by what your expectations are. Okay, so what is your expectation? No, what is your expectation? The expectation is that it has to be list. Right, the input is also list here. And what is the output? Output is also list. Only thing is it will have one less element, because we are clubbing both Congress and SP votes into one record with key as ally. Apart from that, everything else is same. So if for a given constituency, if there are 10 records, which will be passed as input to it, the output is 9 records. And as we are actually returning the collection, we are saying the return type as iterable of string comma int. Okay, does that make sense? It all depends upon what you are trying to do. So if you want to try this out, you can go to this exercise and try this out. And if you have any questions, you can start asking questions over there, or then and there. When you write this, you will be able to actually figure it out. And we will see another example later. Yeah. Total votes. So okay, that you can do. It's pretty straightforward. You just have to do reduce by key, extract the party and add. That's it. That's it. You just have to use reduce by key. Don't use group by key in that case. Across all the constituencies, you want to get how many votes each party achieved. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Reduce by key. So this is the exercise, and this is the code snippet. So you can also see four-way contest also, just to validate. We just have to sort the data by number of votes. So after applying group by key in the map function, I just sorted in reverse order and determined how many seats are won by each party. In that case, I just did not use this additional step. Other than that, everything else is same to compute for four-way contest. So even there, group by key, even there, the group by key have a relevance. I think it did not copy everything as part of it. Let me copy multiple times in chat. So count by key is pretty straightforward. I mean, I know that there is an API called count by key, and if you just have to add, uh, get the number of elements, you just have to use count by key. You don't need to even use the reduce by key or aggregate by key. So you just go to Spark programming guide. Under the actions, there is count by key action. Okay. You can also say reduce by key. There is no harm in that. But to get just elements, number of elements by key, you can use count by key function also, which is an action. And if you use count by key, you don't need to use collect or take because it is an action and the results will be array, and directly you can actually apply for each on top of it. Count by key is an action, not transformation. And the output type is not RDD, it's of type list or array. So this is how I determined. It will just get the count of each key. And you just have to provide the placeholder here. It could be 1 or it could be any value. Still you will get that count. Yeah, yeah. You can use word. Yeah, yeah. You can use count by. So I will give a couple of minutes here just to go try to understand this. Or if you want, I will give the complete time today. You can try writing in our IntelliJ, and if you run into any issues, I will try to address those. We will do that. Just you start writing the program, and if you're stuck somewhere, I will try to help you. And it's very important to understand the APIs and start using those things. So you don't have an IntelliJ and all. Yes. I think fold by key is to just to satisfy. So even on list, right, you have fold as well as reduce. I am not sure, but it is not documented here. So it is better to use the APIs which are provided as part of the documentation. Functionally, both might be same. They might have just given both because on list also you have both fold and reduce. I am also not 100% sure what is the actual difference between the two. But if you look at this documentation, they haven't covered fold by key. So you can ignore for now.
which seems to
Yeah. So you can probably on string. Yeah, you can use string. It's a Java string only. So all the methods will be available. So you can see val s equal to the world. So s dot equals ignore this. So it returned true. So we need to wrap up Spark by this week. So tomorrow we'll be covering sorting and ranking, along with the groupByKey again, with another complex example, but not as complex as this, but it is also a very good example. We will be computing dense rank using groupByKey. And then for the rest of the two classes, we will be covering data frames, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, just to stay in touch, you can actually do the other exercises which are there as part of the discuss.idworks.com. No, everything will be done this week. So last two classes, Wednesday and Thursday, will be covering data functions for SQL. Next week we'll start with scoop or hide.
this last time.
It's a, data is tab delimited. So. I pasted again, Himanshu, in two parts. So get the last one, and you are good to go. I pasted the second time also in two parts, and that time you got complete one. So I will paste the code in GitHub also, and I will share with the folks on YouTube Live. Okay. So just so you can get it in Gist also, Himanshu. So you guys need any help? Okay, the main thing is you can be innovative yourself and come up with the good problem statements and then practice. So also we will be conducting live workshop, uh, 3-day or 4-day workshop on March. I think on March 24th, 25th, and 26th, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you have any of your friends, please pass that. The workshop will be conducted here only. There will be a fee associated with it. I will share all the details by tomorrow. You can circulate within your friends. Same thing, what we have seen in the last 3 weeks, what we have seen, the same thing. Cal Spark. Everyone will get 6 months lab access. I will share all the details about the fee and all those things. For those who are watching on YouTube, if you like that video, please click on the like button. If you want to share with your friends, please click on the share, and you can share it on your social networking platforms. And also, as I have mentioned earlier, I will be conducting a live workshop, and it will be both online as well as on-site. The duration, the tentative date is from March 24th or 25th, the dates which I have just mentioned. Let me tell it is 24th, 25th, 26th, or 25th, 26th, 27th. Either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It will be 24 to 27 hour workshop for those 3 days, and we'll be covering Scala and Spark. Ideal candidates will be people who are experienced in Java, so that they can learn Scala and Spark quickly and start working on the projects. Those are the ideal candidates. If not Java, if you guys have any other experience, also fine. And also this is the hybrid, so we will be streaming online to other locations also using WebEx. And people, if you have any friends in other cities, also just let them know. And I will also share the details with the YouTube live audience tomorrow about the training. So Himanshu, if you see the data, the first line have the column names, and typically we have to discard that. And if you have to discard, one way of doing it is by using map partition with index. And the map partition with index, what it will do, it will actually create an index for each element in the RDD. And we are just discarding the first element and considering all the elements in that RDD. And for that purpose, we have used map partition with index. So that being said, thank you very much, and we'll catch up tomorrow. And we will try to wrap up Scala and Spark workshop by this week, and from next week we'll start on other topics. That being said, thank you. Bye.